Chapter 9:12. No matter what, this time, my Minlu Jez Minua sect has really gained a lot of face. The people of the Minua sect are all proud, except for Chen Xiuxiu. She fiercely stares at Liu Ruoxuan's figure as she comes out of the hall, her eyes full of jealousy and resentment. That spirit grass, she remembers that spirit grass. Back then, she was clearly the one who saw that spiritual herb first. However, because it grew on the edge of the cliff, she couldn't pick it, so she asked senior brother Pang Yunfei for help. Who knew that after Pang Yunfei picked the spirit grass, he directly gave it to Liu Ruoxuan because she wanted it. Now, because of this spirit grass, Liu Ruoxuan became a second-class spiritual root, but what about her? After taking so many elixirs and accumulating pill toxins, she still only has a third-class spiritual root. Why? That spirit grass should be Chen Xiuxiu's, right? Second-class spiritual root and the attention of everyone should also be Chen Xiuxiu's. Liu Ruoxuan trots back to Pang Yunfei and the others. Listening to the envious and amazed praises of the people around her, her face shows a happy smile. Just then Minlu Jez Jun Muyan, come here for the spiritual root test. The crowd that was originally noisy because of Liu Ruoxuan's second-class wood spiritual root test quiets down in a flash. All eyes fall on the woman who slowly walks into the hall. Someone gasps, "There's such a stunning woman in this world. Jun Muyan, which sect is she from? How come I've never heard of her before?" Fortunately, this is a competition of strength. If it was a beauty contest, I'm afraid that Miss Jun would undoubtedly be the first. In just a moment, all the attention on Liu Ruoxuan and the Minua sect disappears without a trace. The faces of the Minua sect's people are incomparably unsightly, especially Chen Xiuxiu and Liu Ruoxuan. Chen Xiuxiu grits her teeth as she stares at Muyan's back. Slut, she still has the face to come out. Liu Ruoxuan grits her teeth, her little face is pale, and she's on the verge of collapse. Jinna, are you all right? Pang Yunfei quickly supports her. Liu Ruoxuan raises her head, her hazy teary eyes filled with fear and grievance. Senior brother, I did let Miss Jun down, but I've already apologized. Why is she still not willing to forgive me? Woo-woo. Jinna, don't be afraid. We will soon enter a large sect. This Jun Muyan won't be able to hurt you anymore. Liu Ruoxuan was still trembling, but she can kill the Ning family patriarch. We are no match for her. Pang Yunfei scoffed. Jinna, don't be fooled by that woman's bravado. With her age and cultivation, she might be able to kill Ning Yuqing, but how could she kill the Ning clan's patriarch? That Ning family's family head is a half-step golden core. If she had such a cultivation base, would she still need to participate in the sect selection? Liu Ruoxuan's eyes shone with hope. Senior brother, what do you mean? It must be because this woman's luck is too good. She was just captured by the Ning family, and the Ning family was destroyed because they offended a powerful force. But don't worry, Jinna. Senior brother won't let her off for hurting and humiliating you like this. Senior brother said that I will protect you forever. Liu Ruoxuan blushed when she saw Pang Yunfei's affectionate gaze. Chen Xiuxiu's face became even more twisted. As soon as Mu Yang enters the Yinmeng Hall, she feels a dozen or so gazes uniformly cast on her. Chapter 9:13. Mu Yang's expression doesn't even change. She looks back calmly. She finds that there are many familiar faces in the hall. For example, Qian Hongxiao, whose mouth was beaten by her last night. His mouth is no longer swollen, but his speech is still slurred because the wound on his tongue is not easy to heal. Seeing Mu Yang come in, he immediately stares at her. His eyes are full of greed and brutality. He wants to skin her alive and pull out her tendons. Mu Yang's eyes sweep over the unfriendly Jiang Dahai and the enigmatic Qian Feng. Finally, her eyes fall on the corner of the hall and she raises her eyebrows. The young man standing in the corner meets her eyes. He jumps up excitedly and keeps waving. Big sister, do you still remember me? We met in that bookstore. His shout startles the old man who was sleeping soundly on the chair and he tumbles to the ground. After getting up, the old man slaps the young man's head. What are you shouting for? Can't you see that your master is sleeping soundly? The young man covers his head and says, Master, You are here to select disciples for our Xiaoyaro school. How can you keep sleeping? Moreover, the big sister I met last time is also here. She is very good at controlling her spiritual power. Master, let's recruit that big sister into our school, okay? Hearing this, the elders of the other sects in the hall shake their heads and show a mocking expression. Everyone here knows that the Xiaoyaro school is the most shabby school in the Blue Heaven realm. There are less than 10 people in the school, including the masters and the disciples. The school's encampment is as shabby as a beggar's nest. It is said that they can only wear ragged clothes all year round and have to go hungry from time to time. It is 100 times more miserable than those rogue cultivators. How can such a Xiaoyaro school have the nerve to participate in the sect selection? One should know that the so-called selection is not only for the sects to select disciples, but also for the talented disciples to choose the sects. Which cultivator would be willing to go to a shabby place like the Xiaoyaro school? However, the old man seemed to be completely unaware of everyone's ridicule. His gaze turned and landed on Mu Yang, and his pupils slightly constricted. Then, all the wrinkles on his face were piled up, and a flower-like smile appeared on his face. Aya, not bad, young lady. You're so pretty, you deserve the name of our Xiaoyaro sect. Do you want to consider joining us? Is everyone in the Xiaoyaro sect this passionate? Mu Yang touched her nose, not knowing how to answer for a moment. Ahem, that's enough. Qian Feng said coldly, let's test the spirit root first. Mu Yan takes a step forward and places her hand on the stone pillar, slowly activating her spiritual power. A blinding light suddenly lit up, but in the blink of an eye, it disappeared without a trace. The stone pillar returns to its dim and lightless appearance. No matter how much Mu Yang urges her spiritual power, it's useless. What is going on? Even the weakest 5th grade spiritual root would emit a faint light. Also, I think I saw a ray of light just now, even though it was just a flash. Did you see that? I didn't. Mu Yang is also a little confused. Qi Huang, what is going on? Qi Huang's gloating voice comes into her ears. What else can it be? The quality of the stone pillar is too low. Mu Yang. Chapter 9:14. Many of the sect's elders nod. No matter what, the first round of the assessment will be based on the results of the testing pillar. I declare, Minute Lu Jiez Jun Muyan, 5th grade spiritual root, failed the assessment. No, impossible. Without waiting for the people inside to finish announcing the results, Wei Zi stumbles in. Miss is clearly very powerful. How could she have a 5th grade spiritual root? Can you guys test it again? Maybe this testing pillar is broken? Yes, it must be this testing pillar that's broken. As soon as Wei Zi's voice falls, she finds that there's silence all around. Inside and outside the hall, there's a burst of laughter. She actually said that the testing pillar is broken? Ha ha ha, how is that possible? The testing pillar has a lifespan of at least 5 years. This testing pillar was specially built for the sect selection. How could it be broken? It must be that the attribute of her spiritual root is too poor, that's why the testing pillar can't light up at all. Chen Xiuxiu's eyes flash with excitement and resentment. She suddenly steps forward and says loudly, I know why the testing pillar isn't responding. Seeing that everyone's eyes are focused on her, Chen Xiuxiu shows a sinister smile to Mu Yan, and continues, because this woman was a prostitute in Tianxiong Lu, and was even used as a human furnace to harvest yin to nourish yang. Her spiritual root has already been swallowed up, that's why there's no response from the testing pillar. As soon as these words come out, the audience goes quiet for a moment, then suddenly bursts into a heated discussion. Those people who were originally stunned by Mu Yan's appearance, upon hearing that she was a prostitute and a human furnace, immediately show a look of disgust. Even the elders in the main hall shook their heads, expressing their dislike for Mu Yang. Wei Zi was so anxious that tears fell from her eyes. No, it's not like that. Don't slander me, it must be this testing pillar that's broken, it must be. She rushes over and injects her spiritual power into the testing pillar, wanting to prove that it's really broken. However, the testing pillar lights up, and the light rises halfway, 3rd grade water spiritual root. This means that Wei Zi is qualified to participate in the next round of assessment, but it also means that the testing pillar isn't broken. Wei Zi's body is on the verge of collapse, and her small face is deathly pale. She's not the slightest bit happy that she passed the assessment. Instead, she looks at Muyan with despair and unwillingness. How could this be? How could it not be broken? If it's not broken, how can it be? How can the miss pass the assessment? Qian Feng coldly snorts, Yin Meng Hall's sacred land? Both of you are eliminated. Leave this place immediately. Wait. Another voice interrupts Qian Feng. The old man in ragged clothes in the corner, the sect leader of the Xiaoyaro school, stands up and shakily walks to Mu Yang. He looks her up and down. Then, he cracked a smile and said, "Young lady, you're really interesting. You were just eliminated, but you're not panicking at all? Mu's sect is, Mu's Mu, sect's Mu's, Mu is Mu on. The old, on, the, Mu sect M, Tien, Mu, sect Mu Chen S on, he. Chapter 9:15. This old man did not have the slightest trace of spiritual power fluctuations, nor did he have any oppressive aura. It was as if he was really just a harmless old beggar. But when he made his move just now, Mu Yang didn't even have the slightest chance to react or resist. This old man's strength was frighteningly strong, as expected. The old man lets go of Mu Yan's wrist. He doesn't care that his greasy and dirty fingers have left a few black palm prints on Mu Yan's wrist. He strokes his beard and exclaims, "Sure enough. How many years has it been since this old man has seen such aptitude? TSK, coming here today is really worth it. Old man Shi, why are you stirring up trouble for no reason?" Jiang Dahai said impatiently, "Hurry up and get this dirty piece of trash out of Yin Dream Hall, lest he dirties this sacred hall." Qian Feng also said indifferently, "Throw these two people out and let the next person come in to take the test." Wei Zi's face was full of tears. She grabbed Mu Yan's hand and said angrily, "Miss, these people are too much. It's obvious that the stone pillar is broken and they can't detect it, but they still want to slander you. Let's go. At worst, we won't participate in the selection." Wei Zi now had a blind admiration for Mu Yang. After all, she had personally witnessed Mu Yang kill Ning Yuqing and Ning Zhongxiang. A girl who could kill a half-step gold core realm cultivator, and you said she was trash with a 5th grade spirit root? Wasn't that a joke? Mu Yang patted the little girl's head and said slowly, "The test is not over yet, why should I leave?" As soon as she said this, the faces of everyone in the hall darkened. Qian Feng said coldly, "You want to cause trouble after failing the test? What kind of place do you think this is? Uncle. 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 Arrest. 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 This Ning. Bastard Ning. Arrest." Qian Hongxiao shouted excitedly with his tongue hanging out. As long as he captured this slut and brought her back to the Li Fire sect, he would be able to freely abuse her in the future. Qian Feng was truly infuriated at this moment. He was about to wave his hand to get the Li Fire sect disciples in Yinmeng Hall to capture him. However, the old man suddenly burst into laughter and said, "Ayaya, a group of elders from the major sects have gathered together to select talents, but they are actually blind to not recognize such a fine jade in front of them. This old man is really going to die of laughter. Shiqing, what nonsense are you spouting? He's just a piece of trash with a 5th grade spiritual root that can't even react to the stone pillars. How dare you say that he's a good talent and a beautiful jade? You're the one who's blind." The old man's smile suddenly disappeared, and he faintly said, "This testing stone pillar can't measure the attribute of the young lady's spirit root, because this is the lowest grade testing stone. The quality is too poor, and it's only suitable for selecting mediocre people. If you encounter a real heaven spiritual root, it would be a wonder if you can detect it." The hall was silent for a moment. Nonsense. Nonsense. This testing stone pillar has been used in the Blue Heaven realm for 100 years, and this has never happened before. I've also heard of the heaven-grade spirit root that you speak of. It's a true monster. Even in the azure blue domain and the purple cloud domain, It's a rare genius that only appears once every 100 years. How could it appear in the Minute Lu domain? That's right, old man Sher. You don't know anything, so don't spout nonsense. The old man stroked his beard and laughed. How about this? This little girl doesn't need to take the test. I'll just take her back to the Xiao Yarrow sect. Chapter 9:16. Suddenly, the head of the Five Spirits sect stood up. With a flick of his wrist, a dark green stone pillar appeared in front of everyone. Little girl, come here and take the test again. Because of the special cultivation method of the Five Spirits sect, it had extremely strict requirements for spirit roots. Therefore, there was indeed a better stone pillar in the sect. It just so happened that the head of the Five Spirits sect brought it with him today. Muyan smiled and stepped forward. She pressed her hand on the stone pillar and poured her spiritual power into it. The next moment, the dark green stone pillar suddenly lit up with a dazzling light. The originally dark green pillar actually became crystal clear in an instant, like a bright moon. Inside and outside the Moon Dream Hall, there was a deathly silence. Everyone's eyes widened as they stared at this miraculous scene. The light was so dazzling, but they couldn't bear to look away. Super grade 1 water spirit root. When the head of the Five Spirits sect reported the result, his voice was trembling. Wow! This result caused an uproar both inside and outside the hall. The head of the Five Spirits sect reacted the fastest. The moment he reported the result, he grabbed Muyan's hand and said excitedly, "Come to our Five Spirits sect, I promise to give you the best resources. Water spirit root. Naturally you can only get the best development in our Cold Moon Observatory." Even Chen Feng couldn't sit still. He revealed a kind and arrogant smile. The Li Fire sect is the biggest sect in the Azure Heaven realm. Little girl, you should know how to choose. Inside the Moon Dream Hall, all the elders were fighting openly and secretly, while the outside was in an uproar. Heavens, super grade 1 water spirit root, it's really super grade 1. I didn't expect that our Azure Heaven realm would produce such a monster. This Muyan is clearly from our Minute Lu Jie. What Azure Heaven realm? Haha, our Minute Lu Jie actually produced such a monster. From now on, we will have a change of fortune. Very soon, she won't be. Once she enters a sect in the Azure Heaven realm, she will be one of us. You are too shameless. Jun Muyan is from our Minute Lu Jie. She's obviously from our Azure Heaven realm. Hey, you even said that Jun Muyan is from your Minute Lu Jie. Someone suddenly mocked in a sarcastic tone. Just now, people from the Minute Lu sector slandered her as a whore and said that she had been defiled as a cultivation stove. Which sect wouldn't treat a monstrous genius with a first-class water attribute spirit root as a treasure? How could she become a prostitute in the heavenly fragrance brothel? Furthermore, people with superior grade 1 spiritual roots usually had a cultivation speed that was 10 times that of ordinary people. Their cultivation and strength were usually extremely powerful. Could those wastes from Minute Lu Jie force Muyan to become a furnace? What a joke! Everyone turned to look at the people from the Bright Moon sect. Their gazes of admiration and envy towards the Bright Moon sect had now turned into disgust and contempt. In particular, the people from Minute Lu Jie were glaring at them. It wasn't easy for Minute Lu Jie to produce a monstrous genius that could shake the world. If they were to dislike Minute Lu Jie because of this, how could they cozy up to him in the future? How could his chickens and dogs ascend to heaven? More people began to doubt the character of these people from the Bright Moon sect. Look at them, all of them are gentlemanly and adorable. I didn't expect their hearts to be so vicious. They actually spread such disgusting rumors and slandered the innocence of this little girl. Chapter 9:17. They clearly know how important reputation is to a female cultivator, but they actually dare to wantonly slander her. These girls from the Bright Moon sect may seem pure and kind, but their hearts are truly vicious. Chen Xiuxiu and the others could hear the sounds of discussion from time to time. The feeling of being condemned by thousands of people caused their faces to turn green and white. The one who was scolded the most was Chen Xiuxiu, who had clamored the loudest, but the one who could not bear the disparity was Liu Ruoxuan. Just a moment ago, she was still the center of attention, an existence that everyone revolved around. But in the blink of an eye, he became an existence that everyone despised. Liu Ruoxuan couldn't hold it in any longer and started to cry. Pang Yunfei looked at her tear-stained face and felt extremely distressed. He quickly ran over to comfort her. Liu Ruoxuan leaned in his arms and sobbed, "I clearly did not scold Miss Jun. I clearly did not say anything. Why did they scold me? Boo-hoo. Senior brother, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not that vicious." Pang Yunfei hugged her tightly and comforted her gently. "Little Jin, don't cry. We all know that you're the kindest. You're not the one who's scolding them. They don't know, so they're venting their anger on you. Who asked us to be from the same sect?" As he spoke, he glanced at Chen Xiuxiu with a reproachful gaze. Pang Yunfei's words seemed to have opened a floodgate, causing the other people of the Bright Moon sect to cast angry and disgusted gazes towards Chen Xiuxiu. It was all because of this woman's willful and reckless behavior that they were now being condemned by everyone. Wu Fangyi directly sneers and says, "Back then in Minute Lu Jie, it was because of you that we were caught and sent to Tian Xionglu, and little junior sister offended Jun Muyan in order to save you. Now, because of you, we are hated by other practitioners. Chen Xiuxiu, when will you stop making trouble? In order not to implicate us." Chen Xiuxiu trembled with anger as she received the looks of disdain and disgust from her fellow disciples. Pointing at Liu Ruoxuan and Pang Yunfei, her lips trembled and she could not say a word for a long time. When he met Mu Yang yesterday, it was clearly Liu Ruoxuan who first brought up the matter of Mu Yang being taken away by young Master Ning. She was just going along with it, but why was everyone pushing the blame onto her now? You bitch. Not only did you steal my spiritual herb, but you also want to frame me." Chen Xiuxiu screamed and rushed towards Liu Ruoxuan, but Pang Yunfei ruthlessly slapped her in the face. "Chen Xiuxiu, have you had enough? Just because Shonga is kind and innocent, you keep bullying her. Don't you forget that if it wasn't for her, you would have long been defiled in the heavenly fragrance house as a cultivation vessel." Pang Yunfei glared at her with murderous intent, then hugged Liu Ruomin and said, "Ruomin, you are too kind. Even if it's senior sister, you can't let her do whatever she wants to you. Alright, don't worry about her, let's go. But she's still senior sister. Little fool, she doesn't deserve to be your senior sister." The people of the Bright Moon sect left together. None of them looked at Chen Xiuxiu, who was on the ground. Chen Xiuxiu glared in the direction they left, her eyes filled with a strong murderous aura. At the same time, there seemed to be something boiling and tearing in her blood, hitting her nerves and pushing her rationality to the brink of collapse. Chapter 9:18. Wei Zi pokes her head over, only to discover that there's a small red bug resting on Mu Yang's palm. She was startled, but also a little curious. "Miss, what is this?" Mu Yang put away the little bug and chuckled, "Nothing. It's just an interesting toy." Wei Zi was about to ask again when she suddenly heard a bell ring from the direction of the Yin Dream Palace. This meant that the first round of the sect selection had ended. There were more than 800 people who participated in the spirit root test. In the end, only 87 people with third-grade spirit roots and above were allowed to participate in the second round. Wei Zi listened to the Yin Dream Palace attendants reporting the name list. When she heard that the first one was her miss, she jumped 3 feet high in joy. "Great, miss, you really passed, and your name is even before young Master Qin's. Heh, super first-class spirit root. There are only a few in the entire Shozhen continent. Miss, you're really amazing. This time, our Minute Lu domain has defeated the entire Azure Heaven domain." Mu Yang touched the little girl's head and couldn't help but chuckle. This little girl was so happy for her that she probably didn't even notice that she passed the first round of assessment. The second round of assessment would begin tomorrow. Thinking of the content of the second round of assessment, Mu Yang's eyes darkened. She believed that the little toy she put on Chen Xiuxiu would become more interesting in tomorrow's assessment. On the second morning, Mu Yang yawned and returned to the center of the windless square under Wei Zi's urging. However, what was different from the previous days was that there was no dazzling palace in the center of the windless square. Instead, there was a huge and strange gray-black circular building. Mu Yang tried to explore the bottom of the building with her divine sense, but felt as if her divine sense had fallen into a boundless abyss. She suddenly withdrew her divine sense, her heart jumping slightly. At this moment, the bell rang twice, indicating the beginning of the second round of the sect selection. The method of the second round of selection was very simple. The strange circular building in the center of the windless square was actually another Sumeru mustard spirit tool, trial field. But compared to the Yin Dream Palace, this, trial field, was of a much higher level. It was already a small world. The content of the second round of assessment was that the 87 people who had passed through the first round would each receive a jade plate and enter the training field. A spirit beast called the one-horned rhinoceros appeared in the training field. The rank of this spirit beast wasn't high, but its battle prowess was comparable to a cultivator at the 5th level of the body refinement realm. It could be said that the practitioners who passed the first round, even the ones with the lowest cultivation, could kill a single-horned rhinoceros with their own strength. Their goal was to kill enough one-horned rhinoceroses. Every time a one-horned rhinoceros was killed, 1 point would be added to the participant's jade card. But if you think that you can win by killing enough one-horned rhinoceroses, then you are gravely mistaken. This was because there was another rule in the second round of assessment, which was that they were allowed to snatch other people's jade tokens. Once the jade token was snatched by someone else, the participant would be directly eliminated and sent out of the trial field. The person who snatched the jade token would be able to obtain half of the other party's points. The higher the final score, the higher the chance of being selected by the big sects. The duration of the second round was 3 days. Chapter 919. The person handing out the jade card is a disciple of the distant fire sect. When Mu Yang took the jade card, she felt a burning gaze cast at her from the side. Turning her head, she met Qian Hongxiao's greedy and lustful gaze. Mu Yang didn't have the slightest intention of dodging. Instead, her lips curled up, revealing a meaningful smile. Qian Hongxiao suddenly shivered, his body recalling the pain from being taught a lesson by Mu Yang. His face suddenly twisted as he flew into a rage out of humiliation and looked away with a trace of fear. In his heart, he was thinking, Jun Mu Yang, this slut, can only be arrogant now. Sooner or later, she will fall into my hands. At that time, I will strip her naked and make her do this and that. Mu Yang couldn't be bothered with that idiot Qian Hongxiao. Taking the jade card, she walked towards the trial field. Mu Yan opens her eyes, only feeling a little weak from exhaustion all over her body. Circulating her spiritual power and clearing her mind, it took a while for her to recover. She turned her head to look around and found herself in a deep valley. The scenery of the valley wasn't beautiful, but the air was fresh. Looking around, there was nothing but emptiness, not a single figure. If she hadn't personally walked in from the trial field's entrance, Mu Yang couldn't imagine that the trial field, which looked like a circular building, was actually such a different world. Mu Yang used to live in the Yanwu continent. Although she already knew that there was a heaven beyond the heavens, and that the world after her ascension was filled with bizarre and dreamy. But seeing it with her own eyes, she still found it novel. TCH, a shabby little world can also make you excited. Ignorant woman. Qi Huang's mocking voice came. Mu Yang didn't immediately respond to Qi Huang, but found a secluded place to lie down, and her divine sense entered the space. Qi Huang was bullying Little Phoenix while mocking Mu Yang. Suddenly, he felt a shadow cast in front of him. Looking up, he met Mu Yang's smiling eyes. Qi Xiaohuang, you've been mocking me recently, mocking me very happily. As he spoke, his hand was already on the zither, seemingly plucking. Qi Huang's face suddenly changed. Why did you come in? Aren't you going to participate in the assessment? Mu Yang laughed lightly, a malicious smile that made Qi Huang's hair stand on end. How can participating in the assessment be more important than teaching Qi Xiaohuang a lesson? What 7 little brilliance? Woman, I'm warning you, don't go overboard. I'm an ancient artifact spirit. Ha 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 ha. Stop. Ha 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 ha. I was wrong. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. I was wrong. Ha 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 ha. This This deity will teach you. Ha ha ha. Teach you how to use your domain. Ha ha ha. Fight. Mu Yang stopped plucking the strings, using the domain to fight? Didn't I already learn it? Qi Huang panted heavily. Her rosy cheeks and limpid eyes were indescribably charming. But his expression looks like he wants to eat someone, fiercely glaring at Mu Yang. The little phoenix, who was originally being bullied miserably, now arrogantly flew to Mu Yan's shoulder, letting out a giggle. He looked like a serf who had turned over and started to sing. Chapter 920. Mu Yan expressed that she would magnanimously not haggle over Qi Xiaohuang's comparison of her to a dog crawling. Tell me, how should I use my domain to fight? Windless Square. A huge illusory projection appears above the training field. The projection shows the battles in the training field, as well as the current changes in the points. As first-grade spiritual roots, Jun Muyan and first-grade spiritual root, Chinijo, have undoubtedly received the most attention. Especially Jun Muyan. Many people wanted to see what kind of monstrous person the legendary superior grade 1 spiritual root was. As if knowing everyone's thoughts, the image in the virtual projection switches to Mu Yan's position. In the quiet and secluded valley, a beautiful girl is sleeping with her eyes closed. Her long eyelashes cast a silhouette on her fair and delicate skin, and a cool breeze slowly blows her hair. That scene is as beautiful as a painting, intoxicating and reluctant to disturb. But no matter how intoxicated they are, they can't conceal everyone's shock. This isn't right. Isn't the assessment going on right now? Everyone else is busy killing the one-horned rhinoceroses. Why is Jun Muyan sleeping? Look, there are 3 one-horned rhinoceroses coming. Someone shouts. A rumbling echo immediately resounds in the valley. The one-horned rhinoceroses are still very large, and they naturally make loud noises when they move. Even a person who is sleeping like a dead pig would be woken up. Sure enough, the sleeping girl slightly opens her eyes, her line of sight falling on the 3 one-horned rhinoceroses. Look, Jun Muyan is going up against those 3 one-horned rhinoceroses. She's going to make her move soon, after all, that's 3 points. I really want to see what an Evildor with a first-class spiritual root looks like in battle. After all, it's 3 one-horned rhinoceroses. Even Jun Muyan should be careful to kill them. In the valley, the one-horned rhinoceroses are getting closer and closer to Mu Yan. In Windless Square, everyone's hearts are in their throats. It's about to start. The battle is about to start. Then, what's going on? Why isn't Jun Muyan fighting yet? Jun Muyan is petite and hidden in the stone. It's normal for the one-horned rhinoceroses not to see her, but it's impossible for Jun Muyan not to notice those 3 one-horned rhinoceroses. Ah, the one-horned rhinoceroses are over. Jun Muyan actually didn't kill them. The people in the entire Windless Square were in a mess. What the hell was going on? Jun Muyan actually stares blankly and doesn't take the 3 points, directly letting them go. What first-class spirit roots? Don't tell me that it doesn't actually have any battle strength. What was the use of just having an outstanding spirit root? If you can't dig out a mountain of treasures, you're just a piece of trash. A disciple of the Bright Moon sect who had been eliminated in the first round sneered. These words immediately caused a huge uproar in the square. Many people agreed with this person's words. It seems that this woman, Jun Muyan, only has talent, but doesn't have the slightest bit of fighting power. Otherwise, there was no way to explain why she didn't dare to take the 3 points when they were right in front of her. Ha ha ha, what genius. It turns out to be nothing more than a flashy but useless straw bag. He can't even deal with a 5th-level body refinement one-horned rhinoceros. Wouldn't this kind of trash be a disgrace to a large sect? Chapter 921. In fact, it's not like the Shozhen continent didn't have such an embroidered pillow for so many years. They have the highest talent and spiritual root, but their fighting awareness and courage are almost equal to 0. Such a person, even if they really use elixirs and resources to push their cultivation up, in the end, they'll just be a disgraceful waste. Such a person is definitely not a disciple that the big sects want to recruit. Otherwise, The sect only needs to hold the first round of selection, and it'll be fine if the selection is completely based on spiritual root talent. Why do they need to hold the second round? Spiritual root talent is the foundation, but it's not everything. Actual combat strength is the most important existence. In the square, almost everyone is completely disappointed with Muyin, even the virtual projection has been switched to someone else. Only the old man of the Xiaoyaro sect chuckles, a bunch of idiots. The cute boy next to him immediately says, "Master, I've seen that sister use water spiritual power. She's very powerful, she's definitely not as useless as they say." The old man yawns, "That's why I said they're all idiots. I'm bored, I'm going to sleep first, wake me up if there's something interesting." The cute boy helplessly looks at his master, who just pulls down his hat and directly falls asleep in the middle of the crowd, snoring loudly. "Ah, look, young Master Qin killed 10 one-horned rhinoceroses in one breath, too powerful. Young Master Qin's points are so much higher than Yin Tianzi's. This is a real expert." Excited shouts rang out from the square. The virtual projection has been switching between Qin Izhou and Yin Tianzi, because their battle is also the most intense and attractive. But the ranking list can roughly see everyone's performance. And at the end of the ranking list, behind the 3 words Jun Muyin, there's still a big 0. A whole day has passed, but there's no change. What the hell is this Jun Muyin doing? She doesn't even dare to kill a one-horned rhinoceros. Letting this kind of person enter the second round is simply a humiliation to those who were eliminated in the first round. Look at those people from the Bright Moon sect from Minute Lu Jie, they're all ranked within the top 50. Oh, look, that Liu Ruoxuan's ranking has risen to the 15th. I saw that the people of the Bright Moon sect said that Jun Muyin was seducing men in the Heavenly Fragrance building. Maybe it's true. With this kind of strength, no matter how talented he is still not suitable to be a human furnace. In the training field. In the forest, the people of the Bright Moon sect were fighting fiercely against 3 single-horned rhinoceroses. An hour later, the 3 one-horned rhinoceroses were exhausted and could no longer hold on. However, Pang Yunfei, who was fighting with the one-horned rhinoceros, did not kill it. Instead, he called out to Liu Ruoxuan, who was standing behind him, "Jin come quickly. Come over and kill these 3 one-horned rhinoceros." Chen Xiuxiu immediately objected, "Senior brother, that's enough. All the one-horned rhinoceroses that we killed along the way were killed by Liu Ruoxuan. She's already in the 15th place. Isn't that enough? Don't we need points?" Chen Xiuxiu was about to explode. This was because there were 6 people from the Bright Moon sect who had entered the second round, and they quickly gathered together. Thus, all the single-horned rhinoceroses they encountered along the way were easily killed. Chapter 922. But Pang Yunfei requested for everyone to leave a message for the dying rhinoceros and let Liu Ruoxuan deal the final blow. As a result, Liu Ruoxuan's ranking naturally rose. But why? Liu Ruoxuan was clearly the most useless. She couldn't even deal with a single rhinoceros. Why did she get so many points? Could she enter a big sect? Pang Yunfei glanced at her coldly. "We are all disciples of the same sect. Jin has the highest chance of entering the inner sect of a big sect. At this time, what we should do is to help each other. Xiuxiu, don't be too selfish." "I'm selfish." Chen Xiuxiu screamed, her eyes red. "Those should be my points. My chance to enter a big sect. Why should I give them to a useless Liu Ruoxuan?" Liu Ruoxuan rushed forward and grabbed the furious Pang Yunfei, crying, "Senior brother, don't say any more. It's my fault, I'm too useless. Just give these 3 rhinoceros to senior sister, don't be angry." Chen Xiuxiu trembled with anger. She was the one who killed the rhinoceros, why should she give it to her? Pang Yunfei looked at Liu Ruoxuan with a face full of tenderness. "Jin why are you so kind?" Liu Ruoxuan showed a timid smile. "I just drew a few talismans. Senior brother Luo, senior brother Zhong, I saw that you were injured just now. Quickly heal them. Senior brother, you should replenish your spiritual energy too," Liu Ruoxuan said and handed over the talismans in her hand. Pang Yunfei and the others took it and used their spiritual energy to burn the talismans. Their injuries immediately healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Jin you still say you're useless. Pang Yunfei's face was full of love. In the Minute Lu and Blue Sky world, how many people can draw talismans? Not to mention these healing talismans. But you did it. And the battle just now only lasted for 2 hours. You already drew 3 talismans. With such talent, even in the Blue Sky world, you are not inferior. Senior brother Luo and senior brother Zhong, who received the talismans, praised, junior sister's ability to draw talismans to heal injuries is not something that everyone can do. It's a great help to us, how can it be useless? Liu Ruoxuan showed a happy smile. Really? That would be great. I just hope that I can help my senior brothers. Pang Yunfei sneered and looked at Chen Xiuxiu. There are some people who don't have much fighting power, but they have a bad temper. All right, stop pretending. These 3 one-horned rhinoceroses are all yours. Are you satisfied now? As he spoke, he held Liu Ruoxuan in his arms and left. The others followed behind him. No one looked at Chen Xiuxiu again. Chen Xiuxiu stared in the direction they left, her eyes slowly glowing with a blood-red light. His mouth opened slightly, and a beast-like roar came out from his mouth. It also sounded like a shriek. If someone were to turn around and look at Chen Xiuxiu at this moment, they would discover that her face was twisted and hideous, like a crazed demon or malicious spirit. Tian Mo-Chin space. The strings of the zither in Muyan's hands slowly vibrate, and the stirring music slowly dissipates. A formless and terrifying power was slowly absorbed into her body. Feeling that she could freely expand and shrink her domain, Mu Yang showed a satisfied expression. Chapter 923. Truly worthy of being little brother's mother. Qi Huang waves his hand like he's shooing away a fly. All right, since you've already grasped it, quickly go out and kill everyone. This sage doesn't want to stay in this broken place forever. Muyan uses her mental tentacles to stroke the little phoenix's head, not the least bit dissatisfied with Qi Huang's attitude. This time, it's all thanks to Qi Huang that she can truly grasp domain. Although it's only the most basic level of domain, its profoundness and power have already made Muyan's heart palpitate. Before she grasped domain, she still felt that she had no chance of winning against Chinijo. But now, she can't wait to meet this #1 genius of Blue Heaven Realm. Muyan leaves the space and takes out her jade card. It's already the 2nd day of the assessment, but she's actually studying domain in the space for an entire day and night. At this time, on the ranking list displayed on the jade card, Chinijo, who's in 1st place, has already accumulated more than 200 points. And the only person with 0 points is herself. Even that little girl, Wei Zi, had scored 16 points. Of course, there are also a few names on the ranking list that have turned grey. That means that this person's jade card has been snatched away, and they've been directly eliminated. However, even those who have been eliminated still have half of their points, so their rankings are higher than hers. Muyan doesn't care at all. Instead, she shows a malicious smile. She moves her divine sense, and the jade card that originally displayed the ranking list changes into a map of the trial field. There are red dots on the map, representing the positions of all the contestants. Starting from the halfway point of the competition, the number of single-horned rhinoceroses in the trial field will gradually decrease. Conversely, if you want points, you can only obtain them from others. The real hunt has just begun. Look, what kind of surprise have I encountered? A vulgar male voice rings out. Muyan turns her head and sees a shifty-eyed man flying towards her with large strides. Jun Muyan. The man cackles, his lecherous eyes constantly flitting over her face and body. Although you're currently at the bottom in terms of points and can't let Laozi move up a rank, Laozi has seen your face, and has long wanted to play with a stunner like you. Mu Yang didn't have the slightest bit of panic on her face. She casually found a rock and sat down. Her posture was indescribably wanton and lazy. I remember that wantonly killing and torturing are not allowed in the training field. You can only snatch jade tokens, right? Ha ha ha, you can't kill or torture, but if you do it willingly, then no one can stop you. The man licked his lips and looked like he was about to pounce on her. If you're willing to sleep with me, I'll give you 30 points. What do you think? If I remember correctly, you only have 0 points right now, right? How about it? This deal should be very profitable for you. The man's gaze unblinkingly falls on Muyan's face, and he unconsciously swallows his saliva. He felt that it was definitely worth it to spend 30 points to play with such a stunner. Mu Yang brushes aside her hair that has been messed up by the wind and chuckles. So, you have a lot of points. Hair. I'm the 9th ranked Hukuan. What do you think? Little beauty, you won't lose out if you follow me. This time, it's Mu Yang's turn to chuckle. Chapter 924. Hukuan was captivated by her smile as he muttered, "Beauty, what are you smiling at?" "I'm smiling at my good luck." Muyan said slowly, "There's no need to deliberately look for it, for the points to come to me." Hukuan was stunned and did not have the time to react to her words. Following that, he suddenly widened his eyes as he saw a dazzling sword beam blossom in front of him. And this was the last scene he saw in the trial grounds. Windless Square. The virtual projection was showing the Bright Moon sect's battle and the scene of them giving the points to Liu Ruoxuan. The square was immediately divided into 2 factions as both sides quarreled noisily. Some people thought that Liu Ruoxuan was shameless. Even if she entered the top 10, she would not live up to her name. Others thought that Liu Ruoxuan had talent in drawing talismans and was such a pure and kind girl. She deserved to be in the top 10. What's more, the points were given to her willingly by her fellow disciples. It was not because she cheated them. The elders of the various sects saw Liu Ruoxuan's performance in drawing talismans and had a different opinion. Qian Feng said to the disciple beside him, "Let me see Liu Ruoxuan's registration information." The disciple immediately agreed and took out a jade scroll. When Qian Feng saw that Liu Ruoxuan's most desired sect was the Li Fire sect, he immediately revealed a proud and satisfied smile. He had to bring this girl back to the Li Fire sect. Although her cultivation level was not high and her combat power was weak, how many people in the Azure Heaven realm could draw talismans and healing talismans? If he brought her back and nurtured her well, she might be able to bring great glory to the Li Fire sect in the future. Instead, it was Jun Muyan. Qian Feng had already seen that the sect she wanted was also registered as the Li Fire sect. Qian Feng was overjoyed when he learned that she had a superior grade 1 spirit root. But now, it seemed that she was just an embroidered pillow. His Li Fire sect did not want such trash. "Uncle," Qian Hongxiao suddenly said, "my cultivation level has been stuck at the 5th rank of Enidia. I have taken quite a number of pills but to no avail. I was thinking that although this Jun Muyan's strength is too weak, she still has a superior grade 1 spirit root. Why don't I recruit her and let her be my cauldron? If I can absorb a superior grade 1 spirit root's yin essence, I believe I can quickly break through the bottleneck." Hearing this, Qian Feng's eyes lit up. Indeed, Qian Hongxiao's cultivation had been stuck at the 5th level of abstinence for a long time. However, because of his relationship with Qian Feng, he still occupied the best resources in the sect, causing the other elders to have objections. If Jun Muyan really becomes Qian Hongxiao's cultivation furnace, she might really be able to help her nephew break through. "Alright, since you, Hongxiao, have requested it, Uncle will recruit her into the Li Fire sect. At that time, she will be yours." Qian Hongxiao was overjoyed. "Thank you, Uncle. You're too good to Hongxiao. Jun Muyan, from now on, you're my slave furnace. Let's see how arrogant you can be. Ha ha ha, oh ah. Look, the leaderboard. The leaderboard has changed." Just as Qian Hongxiao was feeling pleased with himself, a scream suddenly burst out from the crowd. Jun Muyan's points. Why did it suddenly jump to 23? With a whoosh, everyone's attention was focused on the scoreboard. Chapter 925. Hukuan, who was originally in 9th place, has fallen, and has already been eliminated. What the hell is going on? Qian Feng and Qian Hongxiao look at each other in dismay, both revealing a shocked expression. The adorable youth of the carefree sect immediately nudges the sleeping old man awake, and says excitedly, "Master, master, look, the wonderful thing is about to begin." The crowd in the windless square is stirred up, one after another discussing what happened. Why did Jun Muyan's points suddenly rise? Could it be that this Jun Muyan seduced Hu Kuan, and then took advantage of him being unprepared to snatch his jade card? Yes, it's very possible. How could a waste who can't even deal with 3 one-horned rhinoceroses jump so high all of a sudden? Quickly switch the screen to Jun Muyan. Wait a minute. An even more shrill cry pierces the sky. Look. Jun Muyan's ranking rose again. Already 18. 16. Heavens, it's still rising. This Jun Muyan, what did she do? Within the training field, Muyan takes away the other's jade card, watching the other's figure slowly disappearing. She then casually tosses the jade card into the space. Her line of sight shifts, looking at the several people watching the fight not far away. As soon as those people meet her gaze, they immediately stiffen, their faces filled with horror. Muyan takes a few steps forward, asking as she walks, "Have you seen a round-faced little?" She hasn't yet said the last word, girl. Those people scream and scatter in all directions. Jun Muyan is going to kill someone. The Avildor Jun Muyan is coming to snatch the jade card. Everyone run. Muyan stares dumbfoundedly at the empty plane in a split second, unable to come back to her senses for a long time. No. Was she that scary? Didn't she just snatch a few jade cards? And it was clearly these people who provoked her first. What's more, the second round of the trial was originally to encourage everyone to snatch other people's jade cards, so that they could show their strength. How could she be an Avildor, a murderous demon, if others could snatch it? What's more, if she wanted to kill people and snatch their jade cards, she would have to snatch them from experts. What was the use of robbing these small fries? The points given by a jade token were not even enough to fill the gaps between her teeth. Oh, but where did that little girl Weizi go? With a leap, Mu Yang's figure is like a meteor as she catches up to the last man running. She grabs him by the collar. "Arth, don't kill me, don't kill me." Mu Yang frowns as she listens to this pig-like howl. "What are you shouting for? Who wants to kill you?" The man looked at her sobbing. Then don't snatch my jade tablet." Mu Yang casually tosses him aside, unhurriedly saying, "If you obediently answer my questions, I can consider not snatching your jade card." What problem? Have you ever seen a little girl with a round face, combed? Mu Yang described Weizi's appearance. The crying man blinked his eyes, wiped away his snot and tears, and asked carefully, "Boss, this little girl, I really think I've seen her before. If I tell you, can you let me go?" Mu Yang grabs his collar and casually shakes it. "You can give it a try. Didn't you say that I can let you go?" Chapter 926. Mu Yang rolled her eyes. "Who's your boss? Why do you make me look like a homicidal maniac?" However, when the man finished speaking, Mu Yang's expression suddenly became cold, and the murderous aura emitted from her body made the timid man burst into tears. In the dense jungle of the trial field. "Weizi, what are you doing? Hurry up and lure those one-horned rhinoceroses over." Weizi was pushed hard, and her steps staggered. With tears in her eyes, she glared angrily. "Senior sister, don't go too far. You clearly said that as long as I help you collect 30 points, you'll let me leave to find Miss." Standing in front of her was Weizi's senior sister from the Cruel Sun sect, Yun Xiong. This time, besides Weizi and Yun Xiong, there were 2 other people from the Cruel Sun sect who entered the final audition. If Mu Yang and the Bright Moon sect hadn't stolen all the limelight, many people would have found that the Cruel Sun sect's performance was not bad. But because the people from the Cruel Sun sect went to test their spiritual roots after Mu Yang passed the first round of assessment. Mu Yang hated being watched, so she left the center of the square early. Therefore, they didn't know that Yun Xiong and her 2 senior brothers also passed the first round of selection with 3rd-grade spiritual roots. After entering the trial field, Weizi wanted to find Mu Yang as soon as possible. who knew that Yoon Seong and the other two would find her. Yoon Seong loudly reprimanded her for not helping in the Heavenly Fragrance restaurant that day, and said that she was ungrateful, forgetting the kindness of her sect and her father. Wei Zi was not good with words, and Yoon Seong twisted the truth like that. She really couldn't defend herself. But the two senior brothers completely stood on Yoon Seong's side. Censor Wei Zi was forcibly detained by them, and used as bait to lure the one-horned rhinoceroses. Even when someone wanted to rob their jade card, they directly pushed Wei Zi out to be a shield. If it wasn't for Wei Zi's good luck, and the self-protection skills she learned from Mu Yang, she would have been eliminated long ago. She had been clenching her teeth and persevering. Even when Yoon Seong and the others were trampling on her, she had endured it patiently. It was all because Yoon Seong had said that if she helped her earn 30 points, she would let her go. She would treat it as her repaying the kindness of her master. But now, the 30 points had already been obtained, and Yoon Seong still wanted her to be bait. Hearing Wei Zi's complaint, Yoon Seong immediately sneered and said, "Go find your young miss. Don't you know that your young miss's points have always been at the bottom? I guess she must be hiding in some corner and shivering. That kind of trash, you still want to find her?" Checking the points and the arrangement of the red dots on the jade plate required divine sense. Therefore, most of the participants wouldn't take out their jade cards to check the rankings at all times. So much so that Yoon Seong doesn't even know that Muyan's points have already changed. Impossible. Wei Zi's face flushed red as she retorted loudly, "Miss is so smart, it's impossible for her to have 0 points. Something must have happened to Miss. No, I have to go look for her." Yoon Seong and the rest did not check the points on the jade token, and Wei Zi did not even check it. Because she did not dare to take out the jade pendant. As long as he took out the jade token, Yoon Seong and the others would probably snatch it away. Chapter 927. Wei Zi's complexion turns deathly pale. How can this be? Without the jade card, I'll be directly eliminated. How can I find the miss? Don't go too far. Humph, today, you have to hand it over, even if you don't want to. Yoon Seong's expression is sinister as she suddenly leans forward and grabs Wei Zi's clothes, tearing it apart. A dignified disciple of the Kanyang sect is actually a servant to a shameless whore. Since you're so cheap and shameless, I'll help you. Two senior brothers, take off all her clothes for me. I don't believe that I can't find her jade card. Don't. Let me go, woo, let me go. Wei Zi's clothes are torn apart piece by piece, even revealing her fair skin. One of the senior brothers shows a sinister expression, pinching her waist a couple of times. If it weren't for the rules of the assessment, where they can't bully or kill as they please, he would really like to have a taste of this little sister. Wei Zi is so ashamed that she wants to die, her face is full of tears, but she doesn't have the strength to struggle. Found it, haha. It's this little slut's jade card. Yoon Seong suddenly pulls out a jade card from Wei Zi's waist. As long as they erase Wei Zi's divine sense from the jade card, staining it with their own, Wei Zi will be eliminated, and half of her points will be directly transferred to Yoon Seong. Yoon Seong laughs heartily, about to cover it with her divine sense. Suddenly, there's a sharp pain in her brain. The melodious sound of the zither lingers in the air. In the ears of bystanders, it's euphemistic and touching, sentimental. But in the ears of Yoon Seong and her two senior brothers, it's like thousands of needles stabbing into their brains. They can only fall to the ground, rolling and wailing incessantly. Wei Zi blankly raises her head, looking towards the direction of the zither sound. In the hazy fog, the sound of fluttering snow-white clothes, a zither in hand, slowly walking over while playing. As soon as Wei Zi sees this figure, tears well up in her eyes. Miss. Wei Zi rushes over, rushing into Muyan's embrace, tears pouring down like rain. Sob, miss, I finally see you again. Sob, they are bad, they are too bad, I will never forgive them. Sob. Mu Yang helplessly watched as the little girl cried until her clothes were a complete mess and wrinkled, but she didn't push her away. He gently patted her head and said softly, "All right, don't cry. Miss knows that they are bad. Miss will take revenge for you now, okay? Wei Yizi nods with tears in her eyes. When she gets up, she sees the marks on Mu Yan's body and her own half-naked body. She immediately blushes, wishing that she could find a hole to burrow into. Mu Yang finds a piece of clothing from the space and drapes it over her. Only then does she look at Yoon Seong and her two senior brothers who are still lying on the ground, unable to get up. Although the sound of the zither had stopped, Yoon Seong's mind was still in pain. Her body was shaking like a sieve, and there was vomit at the corner of her mouth. When he looks at Mu Yan, his eyes are full of fear and anger. Jun Mu Yan, what do you want to do? This is the training field, you can't do anything to us. Mu Yang looks down at her from above, the corner of her mouth raises into a mocking arc. Is that so? Since I can't do anything to you, what are you worried about? As she speaks, her fingers have already rearranged themselves on the zither. Chapter 928. RRR. Mournful screams come from the mouths of the trio. The trio screams as they roll around, constantly banging their heads against the rocks. I can't take it anymore, I can't take it anymore. I'm willing to give you the jade card, I beg you to spare me. RRR. Help, help R. The man who accompanied Mu Yang to find Wei Yizi sees this scene and almost pees in his pants. The melodious sound of the zither is like a demonic sound from the depths of hell. And the beautiful girl playing the zither is more like a devil waving the scythe of the Grim Reaper. Woo woo woo. Jun Mu Yang is really too scary. When the zither finally stops, Yoon Seong and the other two are already covered in blood, their eyes staring blankly, their faces revealing silly smiles from time to time. That look, they've clearly become stupid. Wei Yizi carefully hides behind Mu Yang. Looking at the miserable appearance of Yoon Seong and the other two, she doesn't have the slightest sympathy in her heart, only carefree. But she still asks worriedly, Miss, they won't die, right? Will you be punished for injuring them? Mu Yang lightly reaches out her hand and 3 jade cards fly out from the trio, falling into her hand. Don't worry, they won't die. It's just that in the future, they'll be no different from being dead, just 3 stupid wastes. As for whether I will be punished or not, you can see that I'm still standing here in good condition. The rules of the trial field state that one cannot deliberately abuse other contestants, and cannot kill them. But this rule only applies to physical injuries. And how could the people of the major sects think that a few insignificant practitioners of fasting and body forging could actually launch an attack on the primordial spirit? Therefore, the rules of the trial field can't do anything to Mu Yang. And Yoon Seong and the other two reap the consequences of their own actions, becoming idiots. Mu Yang looks at the 3 jade cards, then throws them away. One falls into the hands of the man leading the way, and the other 2 are given to Wei Yizi. Miss, imprint your divine sense on them. But, Mu Yang waves her hand, and Wei Yizi immediately stops talking, obediently imprinting her divine sense on them. The man is pleasantly surprised. I have a share. Mu Yang looks at him with a smile that isn't a smile. What? You don't want it? No. Yes. Thank you, boss. The man was pleasantly surprised as he imprinted his divine sense on the jade plate. Looking at his points rising, he smiled so widely that only his teeth could be seen. Boss, who else are you going to kill next? This little one will lead the way for you. The corners of Mu Yang's mouth twitched. What do you mean she still wants to kill someone? Did he really think that she was a murderous demon? On the windless plaza, there was silence. Everyone watched the scenes on the virtual projection with their mouths agape, unable to utter a single word for a long time. At this time, Mu Yang's ranking had already soared to the 9th place. None of her points came from killing single-horned rhinoceroses. So, she didn't kill those 3 single-horned rhinoceroses in the beginning because she thought that killing monsters was too tiring and too few point. How confident must she be in her own strength? Strong. Too strong. This is the true superior grade 1 spiritual root, this is the true monstrous genius. Say, if Jun Muyan and young Master Qin were to fight, who do you think would win? Chapter 929. I bet Jun Muyan that even young Master Qin would not have the courage to not kill a single-horned rhinoceros. The audience in the square were divided into two factions. They were arguing over who was stronger between Qinizhou and Jun Muyan. Qian Feng stared intently at the scene in the virtual projection and slowly exhaled. Hongxiao, it's best you dispel that thought from before. Qian Hongxiao suddenly stared with widened eyes. Uncle, you are saying, I'm saying, immediately remove the thought of making Jun Muyan your cultivation cauldron from your mind. Qian Feng stroked his beard and slowly said, this is a true genius, a genius that can make my Li Fire sect prosper. I, Qian Feng, will definitely take her under my wing. But uncle, if I absorb her talent, I can also, don't say any more. I will definitely not agree to this. You are not allowed to think about it. Qian Feng did not hesitate to interrupt Qian Hongxiao's words. He then stared at the screen and ignored her. Qian Hongxiao's face alternated between green and white as he clenched his fists tightly. Could it be that he had to give up this woman? Could it be that all the humiliation he had suffered the day before was for nothing? No, he, Qian Hongxiao, had never been unable to obtain anything he wanted. This cultivation cauldron, Jun Muyan, was his. Time passed bit by bit, and in a blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. There was only 1 day left for the second round of assessment. And there were only 39 people left in the trial grounds. Boss, your points are already at 4th place. Here he, thanks to old Earth, Little Z, and I have already entered the top 20. The man that Mu Yang had grabbed was called Yi Huan. Ever since he helped Mu Yang find Wei Zi, he had been following behind Mu Yang. In these few hours, he had really freeloaded quite a bit of points. Now, he had climbed from the original 30-something to the 19th place. And Wei Zi's ranking was slightly higher than Yi Huan's, at the 18th place. Boss, you might not know, but the people who are still alive in the trial grounds are spreading rumors that you are a demoness in chaos. They would rather be slashed by young Master Qin than to meet you, or else they will suffer a fate worse than death. Haha, once this trial ends, boss, your name will spread throughout the Azure Heaven realm and Minute Lu realm. Yi Huan was still chattering on, but he received a lukewarm glare from Mu Yang. Isn't it all thanks to your efforts in promoting me? Hearing the cold and sarcastic words spoken in the girl's clear and pleasant voice, Yi Huan shivered, shrank his neck and moved back. Here he, isn't what I said the truth? Boss, since you're so powerful, you should let everyone know about it. Otherwise, wouldn't there always be people who don't have eyes looking for trouble? Mu Yang rolled her eyes and did not want to talk nonsense with Yi Huan, the idiot. She didn't know how Yi Huan managed to spread her reputation in the trial field. As a result, the people who were born in the training grounds were terrified of her. The moment he heard that she was coming, he immediately fled. Not to mention those who took the initiative to look for trouble, there was not a single one now. Although Mu Yang was overbearing and unbridled, he was too embarrassed to casually abuse others and steal their jade tablets. As a result, her points stopped at 6th place, unable to advance any further. This guy actually had the nerve to boast. Chapter 930. Mu Yang shakes her head and is about to speak when her eyes suddenly darken. Her line of sight turns to the nearby main road. She sees a tall figure slowly walking over from the hazy dust. It's a young man, carrying a long sword on his back. There's only a proud expression on his not-so-handsome face. But those eyes are burning with a blazing flame, as if they can burn everything between heaven and earth. Mu Yang slowly stands up, slightly narrowing her eyes as she looks at the man approaching her. Wei Zi and Yi Huan follow Mu Yang's line of sight and suddenly widen their eyes. The two of them almost shout in unison, Qinizhou. That's right, this unprepossessing, aloof, and pure youth in front of them is the #1 genius of the Azure Sky world participating in the sect selection, Qinizhou. Qinizhou doesn't even look at Wei Zi and Yi Huan, his line of sight falling on Mu Yang. There's no trace of lust or surprise, only full of fighting spirit. Jun Mu Yang. Mu Yang faintly smiles. Young Master Qin, I've long heard of your great name. Qinizhou grabs the long sword on his back. Are you willing to fight me? Wei Zi and Yi Huan gasp, looking at Mu Yang in amazement and worry, then looking at Qina Zhou. Only Mu Yang's expression hasn't changed in the slightest. She's still holding the unfinished earth spirit fruit in her hand, unhurriedly saying, "There's still one more day until the end of the trial. If you and I fight now, you're not afraid that someone will take advantage of you in the end?" Qina Zhou shakes his head, resolute and decisive. "Impossible. In this trial field, besides you, no one can surpass my points." Mu Yang stares blankly, taking out the jade tablet to look. Then her face shows an astonished expression. She sees that Qina Zhou, who was originally number 1, is still number 1. But his points have gone from more than 400 to more than 800. There's a gap of more than 400 points between him and the second place. And Yin Tianzi, who was originally number 2, has already fallen down, staying at the 9th position, already in a state of elimination. This kind of point change, it's very clear without much explanation. Qina Zhou defeated Yin Tianzi, taking away half of Yin Tianzi's points. Mu Yang's gaze once again falls on Qina Zhou. She sees the young man's proud face, like a raging battle. This Qina Zhou was different from her. She had snatched his jade tablet purely because she was too lazy to kill the single-horned rhinoceros. As for Qina Zhou, after he had killed enough rhinoceroses, he began to look for experts to challenge. He really wanted to fight. The corner of Mu Yan's mouth hooks up into a faint smile. With a flip of her wrist, the Tianmo Qin floats in midair. Then, it suddenly rotates, and multicolored rays of light blossom, finally merging into a sparkling and translucent long sword. Alright, let's use this battle to determine who is the number 1 person in this trial. On the windless square, everyone was seething with excitement. They're facing each other, they're facing each other. Zhun Muyan is really facing young Master Qin. Who will win? Is it the demonist Zhun Muyan who kills without batting an eyelid, or the number 1 genius of the Azure Sky realm, young Master Qin? The cute boy from the carefree school grabbed his master's sleeve nervously. "Master, who do you think will win? Can big sister win?" Chapter 931. Qian Hongxiao clenched his fists and looked at Qian Feng. "Uncle, who do you think will win? Although Zhun Muyan's talent and strength are very powerful, she is still too young. She also came from the Minute Lu world." Qian Feng said with certainty, "So the winner of this battle will definitely be Qina Zhou." In fact, Qina Zhou was also the person the Li Fire sect thought the most of in this selection. Although Zhun Muyan had appeared out of nowhere and attracted everyone's attention. But the person the Li Fire sect and Qian Feng wanted the most was definitely Qina Zhou. Qian Hongxiao's eyes darted around as he whispered, "Uncle, if Zhun Muyan loses to Qina Zhou, how about you give Zhun Muyan to me? After this sect tournament, you can only take in 1 disciple. That Qina Zhou will definitely be the best candidate. If Zhun Muyan is taken back as a disciple, wouldn't it weaken Uncle's prestige in the sect if she were to be snatched away by the other peaks? How about..." He licked his lips. "How about giving her to your nephew? As long as your nephew takes her body and tames her, even if she doesn't become a cultivation vessel, she'll definitely be loyal to Uncle and won't dare to be disloyal." Hearing this, Qian Feng's face revealed a look of hesitation. Let's first see how long Zhun Muyan can last under Qina Zhou's hands. Qian Hongxiao knew that his uncle's words meant that he had already given in, so he was immediately overjoyed. Seeing Muyan's enchanting smile on the virtual projection, he swallowed his saliva as his eyes filled with greed and brutality. "Ha ha ha, Zhun Muyan, you are destined to fall into my hands." While the people in the square were engaged in a flurry of discussion, in the training ground, Muyan and Qina Zhou were already locked in battle. Wei Zi and Yi Huan watched from afar as their hearts leaped to their throats. However, even though their eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets, they could not tell who had gained the upper hand in this battle. A loud boom resounded. A huge ravine appeared on the vast grassland. The entire training ground seemed to shake as the sky changed color. Wei Zi and Yi Huan's faces were pale as they looked worried. This was because they saw that the sword strike that could change the color of the sky was slashed out by Qina Zhou with the sword in his hand. For Wei Zi and Yi Huan, Such a powerful and terrifying strength was simply unimaginable. In the sky, a moon-white figure suddenly retreated, barely dodging Chi-Nijo's sword. But just as she stands still, a trace of blood still overflows from the corner of Muyen's mouth. Her body was covered with sword wounds of various sizes. Chi-Nijo leaps in front of Muyen, the long sword in his hand pointing at the ground. His face is still proud, but there's a trace of admiration in his eyes as he looks at Muyen. It's been a long time since I've fought to my heart's content. If I'm not wrong, you should have just reached the realm of Enidia, but you can actually last so long under my hands. If I give you another 2 years, I'm afraid I won't be a match for you. The corner of the girl's mouth slowly curled up into a faint smile. A bright smile bloomed on her face. However, it wasn't the usual mockery and carelessness. Instead, it was a proud smile formed from the carefreeness of a person who had unleashed all of his might and a crazily burning fighting spirit. Yes, the expression on Muyen's face right now is even more untamed than Chi-Nijo's, even more disdainful of the world. Chapter 932. Immediately after, an invisible energy is slowly released from the tip of her sword, forming a circle that envelops Muyen and Chi-Nijo. I also feel that fighting with you makes me very happy. It's been a long time since I've had such a carefree fight. Muyen slowly says in a voice that only the two of them can hear, so, in order to show my respect to you as an opponent, I will go all out in the following fight. This is. Feeling the energy abruptly spreading from the tip of Mu Yang's sword, as well as the sudden clumsiness and powerlessness of his body, Chi-Nijo's eyes suddenly widen. His proud and calm face finally shows an aghast expression. How is this possible? How could you? Master Domain. Windless Square. I said that young Master Qin is the strongest. No matter how powerful this Jun Muyen is, she's still being suppressed by young Master Qin. Is there a need to say it? Young Master Qin is the #1 genius of Azure Heaven Realm, and also the son of the Qin family's first wife. How could a nobody from Minute Lu Jie compare to him? I just bet on young Master Qin to win. It seems that he's going to win. You also said that Jun Muyen would win. Now quickly take out the crystals. Wait a minute. Suddenly, someone screams in shock. Look. The battle has changed. What's going on? Why is young Master Qin suddenly being suppressed by Jun Muyen, and doesn't even have the strength to fight back? This is impossible. This Jun Muyen must have used some kind of demonic technique. In the corner of the square, Shiqing suddenly stands up from his chair. He doesn't even know that a large piece of his tattered clothes has been taken away by the chair. He widens his eyes, staring at the battle in the virtual projection, and mutters, "Impossible, this is impossible. How could a little girl who's not even 20 grasp domain? Master, what are you saying?" The cute youth asks. Jejia seems to be winning. Master, you lost the bet just now. Give me the crystals, you can't go back on your word. Shiqing was still in a state of shock as he watched for a while. Then, he retracted his gaze and glared at his disciple. Acting shamelessly, he said, "I don't have any crystal stones right now. I owe you crystal stones. When your junior martial uncle comes back, you can ask him yourself." The cute youth was dumbfounded and shouted, "Master, you can't act shamelessly." If he had the guts to ask junior martial uncle for crystal stones, he would be able to fly to the sky. After Mu Yang used the star domain, the battle only lasted for a quarter of an hour before Chi-Nijo was defeated. Without the slightest hesitation, Chi-Nijo throws his jade card to Mu Yang and leaves the training field. Before he left, he looked deeply at Mu Yang, his eyes burning with fighting spirit. "Today, I have lost wholeheartedly, but one day, I will become stronger and defeat you." Mu Yang smiles faintly and erases Chi-Nijo's divine sense from the jade tablet, replacing it with her own. Seeing Chi-Nijo's figure disappear, she said unhurriedly, "Anytime." In the next moment, the leaderboard changed. First place, Jun Muyen, 832 points. After a moment of silence in the windless square, it was thoroughly boiling. Who would have thought that Jun Muyen, who was at the bottom with 0 points just a day ago, would actually climb all the way to first place without killing a single-horned rhinoceros, and only relying on killing to snatch the jade card. Chapter 933. Especially Chinijo's last sentence, "I'm sincerely convinced of my loss," made everyone's last bit of doubt towards Mu Yang disappear without a trace. In the entire square, including the elders of the major sects, only Shi-Ching could see that Mu Yang had used domain. But they also knew that Mu Yang must not have used any dishonorable means to make Chinijo sincerely convinced. On the plaza, a Xiuzhe from Minute Lu Jie shouted, "Minute Lu Jie, Jun Mu Yang, first." Then, the practitioners of Minute Lu Jie echoed one after another. "Minute Lu Jie, Jun Mu Yang, first is well deserved. First is well deserved." Qian Hongxiao's expression was so unsightly that it almost dripped water. He originally thought that Chinijo would definitely defeat Mu Yang in this battle. At that time, he could ask his uncle for this woman to be his cultivation furnace. But he never thought that Mu Yang would actually win. This slut, she must have used some dishonorable means. And that trash Chinijo, he couldn't even beat a woman. Qian Hongxiao's face twisted, but his desire grew because he couldn't obtain it. No, he absolutely wanted Mu Yang to become his, Qian Hongxiao's, plaything. After Chinijo's figure disappeared, the exhausted Mu Yang couldn't hold on any longer and fell to the ground on her butt. "Miss, are you okay?" Wei Zi and Yi Huan rushed over nervously. Mu Yang waved her hand, "I just consumed too much spiritual power." Wei Zi heard this and immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Then, she couldn't help but become excited. "Miss, you're really too amazing. You actually defeated young Master Qin, and you're already first in point. First place. Boss is the boss." Yi Huan flattered. He didn't kill a single-horned rhinoceros the whole time. He only used a sword to snatch the jade plate, and he actually got first place. Mu Yang waved her hand in disgust. "Go somewhere cool and stay. I'm going to rest for 2 hours, don't disturb me." Wei Zi nodded repeatedly. "Miss, rest well. I'll keep a lookout for you." Yi Huan excitedly got up and left. He wanted to go and properly publicize the boss's glorious deeds for the rest of the people, so that he could be in the limelight. Maybe there would even be people who would curry favor with him and give him points. Because of Yi Huan, the informant, the news that Jun Muyan defeated Chinijo and climbed to the top of the scoreboard not only spread throughout Windless Square, but even the remaining people in the trial field also spread it by word of mouth and knew it clearly. There was less than half a day left until the end of the second round of the assessment. There were only a few one-horned rhinoceroses left in the training field. There were only about 20 lucky survivors, and most of them only hoped to survive until the end of the test. Almost everyone had tacitly acknowledged the fissomeness and power of the death god, Jun Muyan. They had tacitly agreed that the first place was hers. No one wanted to snatch it from her, and no one dared to. But that was only almost. In a corner of the vast prairie, several people are hiding behind rocks. From time to time, they would poke their heads out to look at Jun Muyan, who's in the middle of the prairie adjusting her breathing, and Wei Zi, who's guarding her. These people were the lucky survivors of the Bright Moon sect. Chen Xiuxiu's eyes are firmly fixed on Mu Yang's figure in the distance, her eyes revealing deep hatred, jealousy, and fear. Chapter 934. Do you think that Chinijo is so eager to win? She defeated Chinijo, so she must have been seriously injured. If we go and snatch her jade card now, she won't be able to fight back, and we can jump to the top of the scoreboard. Liu Ruoxuan shakes her head in alarm. No, how can we do that? We can't take advantage of someone's difficulties. Pang Yunfei also frowns. Everyone in the training field knows about Jun Muyan's strength. What if her injuries aren't very serious? If we snatch her jade card, wouldn't that be sending a sheep into a tiger's den? That's too risky. Chen Xiuxiu sneers. Not that serious. Don't you see that she's covered in blood, and she's been sitting cross-legged for an hour without moving? That slut Wei Zi is guarding her, not daring to move a single step. If this isn't serious injury, then what is? Chen Xiuxiu's burning gaze sweeps over everyone, her words carrying a deep temptation. Jun Muyan has more than 800 points now. If we snatch it, even if we divide it evenly, we can still rise to the top 10. Don't you know what it means to rise to the top 10? That means that they might be able to directly enter the inner sect of a large sect. But now, apart from Liu Ruoxuan, the rest of them are only in the 30s, and there are even some in the 40s. This ranking can let them be accepted by some small sect, but they can only enter the outer sect. That's a difference of heaven and earth. Liu Ruoxuan shakes her head again and again with a pale face. No, how can we do that? Senior sister, we can't take advantage of someone's difficulties and be so vicious. Forget it. Chen Xiuxiu looks at her fiercely, sneering. You're in the top 10, of course you can pretend to be a white lotus. But that slut Jun Muyan harmed me like this, I must take revenge this time. You bunch of cowards, since you don't dare to come over, then Jun Muyan's points are all mine. Liu Ruoxuan, in a moment, my points will be higher than yours, and I'll enter a sect better than yours. Don't be jealous. Ha ha ha. Saying that, Chen Xiuxiu steals her heart and goes straight to Muyan's direction. Liu Ruoxuan could not help but bite her lips as Chen Xiuxiu's words. Later on, my score will be higher than yours, so I'll enter a sect better than yours. The expressions of the other members of the Bright Moon sect also changed. Wariness flashed in their eyes for a moment, and then greed flashed in the next. Pang Yunfei suddenly gritted his teeth and said, let's go and take a look. What if he could really get Muyan's points and enter a large sect? Wei Yizi is carefully guarding Muyan's side, wiping the bloodstains on her face. Suddenly, a sharp, mocking voice is heard. Jun Muyan's injuries from her fight with Chinizhou aren't light, she's already dying. Nonsense. Wei Yizi reflexively turned around and shouted, Miss only needs to rest for 2 hours and she will be fine. Ha 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 ha. Chen Xiuxiu laughs heartily, looking at Wei Yizi like she's looking at an idiot. In other words, Jun Muyan is really injured, and now she doesn't have the strength to fight back. Saying that, she glances at the people following behind her. Did you hear that? Now is the best opportunity to grab Jun Muyan's points. If you guys don't want it, I can monopolize these 400 points. The eyes of Pang Yunfei and the others fall on Muyan, and they all shine with a brilliant light that is determined to win. Wei Yizi's complexion turns deathly pale in a split second. Recommendation. Chapter 935. Wei Yizi's complexion turns deathly pale in an instant. At this moment, she really wants to ruthlessly slap herself in the face. How could she be so stupid? So stupid. She couldn't help the miss at all, yet she still leaked information to the miss's enemy. You, what do you want to do? Wei Yizi's eyes redden as she stands in front of Muyan, her body trembling uncontrollably. What do I want to do? Chen Xiuxiu sneers, Jun Muyan, that slut, embarrassed me in front of so many people, and even caused my skin to be burned and my face to be disfigured. I've long wanted to dismember her body into 10,000 pieces. Today, I spared her dog life because of the rules of the training field. If you're sensible, you'd better obediently hand over that slut and your own jade card to me, otherwise, hey, I don't know how to hold back. Wei Yizi meets Chen Xiuxiu's sinister and tyrannical gaze, and her body unconsciously trembles. But very quickly, she straightens up her small body and bites her lip. I can give you my jade card and my points, but you can't touch the miss. Who do you think you are, daring to talk terms with me? Chen Xiuxiu swings her hand in the air. In a split second, a slap is thrown on Wei Yizi's face. Wei Yizi only feels a burning pain on her face, but she only shakes a little before she stands up straight again and stands in front of Muyan, not even blinking her eyes. You can take my jade card, but if you want to touch the miss, you'll have to step over my dead body. Chen Xiuxiu's eyes flash with irritation and killing intent. Little slut, do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? With that, she swings the long sword in her hand and attacks Wei Yizi. Wei Yizi scrambles to condense her water spiritual power to resist. She has very little fighting experience. Although she has the same third-class water spiritual root as Chen Xiuxiu, her cultivation is 2 levels lower than Chen Xiuxiu's. At the beginning, she was struggling left and right, simply in a very difficult situation. But slowly, a melodious music seems to ring in Wei Yi's mind. Every time she practiced, Mu Yang would play this piece for her. Wei Yi doesn't know what's special about this song, but whenever the miss plays it, she feels that her sword is particularly smooth. The condensation and control of water spiritual power also becomes handy. Now that the young miss was recuperating from her injuries, there was clearly no sound of the zither, but her ears seemed to be ringing with the melodious sound of the zither. Then, naturally, Wei Yi's sword aura became smooth and smooth. Moreover, there was a faint, piercingly cold aura within the edge of her sword, making it impossible for anyone to hide. At this moment, Chen Xiuxiu was the one who was in dire straits. After 10 moves, Chen Xiuxiu staggered and fell to the ground. Wei Yi's sword was pressed against Chen Xiuxiu's neck as she panted heavily. Her face was filled with disbelief. She won. She actually defeated Chen Xiuxiu, whose cultivation was 2 levels higher than hers. Full of excitement, Wei Yi looks at Muyan, who is still adjusting her breathing. All of this was given to her by Miss Chen Xiuxiu couldn't believe it. I actually lost to you, you little bitch. Tell me, did you use some kind of demonic technique? She bared her fangs and brandished her claws, wanting to pounce on him. Wei Yi closed her eyes and steeled her heart. She thrust the tip of her sword forward and pierced Chen Xiuxiu's shoulder. Chen Xiuxiu screamed. You don't move. Otherwise, I won't be polite. Chapter 936. The more Wei Yi speaks, the smoother her voice becomes, and the straighter her back becomes. She pulls out the sword from Chen Xiuxiu's shoulder and points it at her neck again. The seriousness and determination on her small face make people believe that she can do what she says. As long as you don't hurt the miss, I'll let you go. Chen Xiuxiu feels the coldness on her neck and the pain on her shoulder. Where is the arrogance from just now? She cries. Senior brother, senior sister, save me. Quickly save me. Pang Yunfei's gaze sweeps from Chen Xiuxiu's face to Muyan, his eyes blazing and complicated. Xiuxiu, don't worry, this is the training field. The elders of the big sects won't allow you to die. But as you said, there's only one chance for us to get Muyan's points and enter the big sects. Chen Xiuxiu widens her eyes in disbelief. Senior brother, what are you saying? Don't you care about my life or death? Before Pang Yunfei can speak, senior brother Luo and senior brother Zhong are already anxiously saying, it seems that Muyan has really been seriously injured. This is a rare opportunity. Don't talk nonsense with her. Let's go grab her jade tablet first, it'll be bad if she wakes up. Saying that, the few of them quickly spread out, outflanking Mu Yang from all sides. Wei's eyes widen, she can't believe that they don't care about the life and death of their fellow disciples. She pushes her sword forward. Stop, if you come any closer to the miss, I'll really do it. Ah! Chen Xiuxiu screams in horror. Feeling the pain and stickiness on her neck, she suddenly roars hysterically. Liu Ruoxuan, junior sister, aren't you the kindest? How could you just watch me die like that? Quickly tell them to stop, save me. Liu Ruoxuan's face shows a struggling expression, shaking her head as if in extreme pain. She sobs, I don't know, I don't think I can take advantage of people's difficulties, but senior brother said that the training field is a competition where the weak are prey to the strong. Moreover, I really hope to enter a big sect with senior brother and sister. Chen Xiuxiu shouts in disbelief, you want to enter a big sect, so you want to abandon me? You want to sacrifice me? Pang Yunfei's face darkened. Jin don't waste your breath on her. Haven't we been implicated enough by her along the way? With her willful and selfish personality, even if she dies, she deserves it. Liu Ruoxuan cried, I'm sorry, senior sister, I also want to save you, but I can't, woo. At this time, Pang Yunfei and the others are already very close to Muyan. Wei Yi can no longer pay attention to Chen Xiuxiu. She flies over and stands in front of Muyan, tangling with the 3 people. However, Wei Yi's victory over Chen Xiuxiu was already a fluke. Pang Yunfei and the other two's cultivation were much higher than hers. How could Wei Yi be a match for them? In just a short moment, Wei Zi had already been beaten to the ground, her whole body in pain. Pang Yunfei mercilessly kicked Wei Zi's body, sending her flying. His gaze shifts to Muyan's waist, staring at it with a burning gaze. There was an inconspicuous jade tablet hanging there. Quite a few people in the training field know that Jun Muyan has always liked to hang the jade tablet on her waist. It was as if it was telling others to come and snatch it. Once the elixir enters her abdomen, coupled with Muyan's spiritual power, Wei Zi immediately feels much better. But miss, you said to heal for an hour, idiot. Mu Yang knocks her on the head, it's a breath adjustment. Don't ever try to be brave again, understand? Wei Zi showed an embarrassed expression and nodded. After dealing with Wei Zi's injuries, Muyan raises her head. But by this time, most of the people from the Bright Moon sect had already fled. Only Pang Yunfei and Chen Xiuxiu, who were injured, were able to stay in her line of sight because they couldn't run fast. Mu Yang flips her wrist, and the Tian Mo Qin appears. Her fingertips lightly move, and 2 strings fly out. In the blink of an eye, they roll up the 2 people and throw them in front of Mu Yang. The red light in Chen Xiuxiu's eyes flickered. She suddenly lifted her leg and kicked Pang Yunfei's abdomen. Very quickly, the 2 of them began to fight back and forth. Not long after, they were covered in cuts and bruises and could not even get up. Because it was a fight, even the trial grounds wouldn't judge it as abuse, so it didn't violate the rules. Jun Muyan, you've seen enough of a joke. Return our jade cards, to us. Mu Yang faintly smiles and throws the jade tablet away. The 2 jade tokens fell into Wei Zi's hands. Eliminate them. Chapter 939. Mu Yang slowly walks up to her and sneers. I remember that when we first met, I said that I wouldn't offend people if they don't offend me. But you've challenged my bottom line again and again. Do you think that I'm good and easy to bully? Since you still don't want to leave the trial field, why don't you let me cripple your mind like Yun Xiong? Chen Xiuxiu's face is instantly full of horror. No, I don't want to become an idiot. I'd rather be eliminated. I'm willing to be eliminated. After Wei Zi attaches her divine sense to the jade card, Chen Xiuxiu and Pang Yunfei's figures suddenly disappear. On the scoreboard, the 2, who were originally ranked around the 30s, suddenly drop to the 40s and 50s. With such a result, they basically don't need to think about entering a big sect. Mu Yang's fingers move slightly, and the Tian Mo Qin turns around and turns into a crystal clear sword. Miss, what are you going to do? Wei Zi can't help but ask when she sees the biting cold killing intent coming from her. Mu Yang smiles slightly, her smile bright and tempting. Silly girl, of course I'm going to avenge you. These people can't possibly think that they can escape unscathed after bullying my people, right? These people from the Bright Moon sect, none of them can escape. The last 4 hours of the trial field should have passed uneventfully. Because most people are afraid to grab other people's points, only to kick an iron plate and finally cause them to lose half of their points. They would rather keep their current score and enter the sect they like. But the fact is, this tranquility is completely broken. Heroine, spare me. My points are just enough for me to enter the Wind and Thunder Pavilion. Please don't take my jade card, boo-hoo. Yi Huan looks at the man kneeling on the ground without any backbone and spits disdainfully, but she doesn't feel that this is very similar to her in the past. What are you shouting for? Who said that our boss wants to take your jade card? I just want to ask you, have you seen these people from the Bright Moon sect? With that, she takes out a few paintings and shows them to the man. Hearing that he won't take his jade card, the man is immediately overjoyed. He stares at them for a while and suddenly says loudly, yes, I've seen this man. Very good. Yi Huan smiled and threw him a jade token. This is your reward. The man took the jade tablet in a daze and didn't react for a moment. Yi Huan said again, remember, Go and tell all the survivors in the trial field that these people from the Bright Moon sect offended our boss. They were so audacious that they wanted to take advantage of the fact that our boss hadn't recovered his spiritual power after the battle with young Master Qin. They even injured little Z. Boss is furious. He's going to make those trash from the Bright Moon sect pay the price. Pass down my orders. If any of the survivors dare to protect the people of the Bright Moon sect, you all know the consequences. Understood, understood. The man nodded repeatedly. Then, he said in disgust, those country bumpkins of the Bright Moon sect are from the Minute Lu domain. I've always found them an eyesore. Ah, no, boss, I'm not talking about you. You're the light of Minute Green Realm. Cough, boss, just you wait, I'll get everyone to help you find them. Yi Huan patted him on the shoulder with a gratified expression. You'll definitely benefit from working for our boss. Boss said that the jade tokens of these people from the Bright Moon sect will belong to whoever provides the clues when boss captures them. Chapter 940. Mu Yang rolls her eyes. Who's your boss? With the help of the remaining survivors in the trial field, Mu Yang quickly takes away Wu Fangyi's and Zhong Luo's jade cards in the next hour. This time, the contestants watching Mu Yang brutally teach the three people a lesson. Not only do they not feel fear, they even surround her and excitedly cheer. Boss, you can do it. Boss is mighty. Boss is invincible. You bunch of rats dare to offend boss. You simply deserve to die 10,000 times. Mu Yang puts her hand to her forehead. These people have no end, making her lose interest in abusing and retaliating against the enemy. Wu Fangyi's trio's jade cards are thrown to the practitioners who provided the information, and the scoreboard changes again. The people who obtained the jade cards are overjoyed. With these dozens of additional points, they are even more sure of entering the sect they like. There's only half an hour left until the end of the second assessment. The only person they haven't found is Liu Ruoxuan. Liu Ruoxuan's current points are still high in the top 15. Mu Yang slightly narrows her eyes, her expression indescribable. Sure enough, it's not her illusion, Liu Ruoxuan's luck is really frighteningly good. It would be great if her baby was here. Xiao Bao's luck is truly invincible. This can be seen from how Xiao Bao could find the Tianmo Qin at a glance. Boss, I found that woman. Just as she's thinking about it, a practitioner's shout comes from not far away. Mu Yang touches her nose. It can't be, just thinking about her baby, and her luck has gone up. Next to a damp puddle, Liu Ruoxuan cuts a sorry and haggard figure. When Mu Yang arrives, she is surrounded by the cultivators who are helping her to search for them. But no one has the nerve to make a move. After all, Liu Ruoxuan looks too weak, too delicate, too small. Most of the remaining practitioners are grown men, and they more or less have pity for this kind of woman. As for Mu Yang, well, her appearance is far superior to Liu Ruoxuan's, her temperament is graceful, and her figure is slender and graceful. But the problem is, it's so scary. You can't treat her like a weak girl at all. Boss, you're here. Boss, take a look and see if this woman is the surviving member of the Bright Moon sect that you're looking for. Boss, I was the one who discovered this woman. Shouldn't her points belong to me? Here. Mu Yang ignores this group of chattering practitioners who are as noisy as aunties in the market. Her gaze falls on Liu Ruoxuan. Liu Ruoxuan's tears fall all of a sudden. Jun Muyan, you've gone too far. You actually snatched away my senior brother and sister's jade plates. They could have entered the outer sect of a large sect, but now, all their years of hard work have gone to waste. Mu Yang raises her eyebrows. Oh, you're starting to play a weak, kind, and bitter drama again. Before she could speak, Yi Huan sneered and said, Bah, you said our boss went too far. When you wanted to snatch our boss's jade token, why didn't you think about whether you went too far or not? Do you think that by crying and pretending to be pitiful, you will really be pitiful? When our Xiao Zi was beaten black and blue all over, why didn't you feel sorry for her? Liu Ruoxuan's face stiffened. Although she looked pitiful, she was good at standing on the moral high ground. Yi Huan was a smooth talker, but he couldn't be compared with Yi Huan. Chapter 941. Liu Ruoxuan looks at Muyan and Wei Zi next to her. I can apologize on behalf of my senior sister and brother for robbing your jade card and injuring Miss Wei Zi. But they have also been punished. What's more, I didn't do anything to you at all. I still wanted to persuade my senior brother and sister. You're talking nonsense. Wei Zi's face is flushed with anger. When I restrained Chen Xiuxiu, I clearly told you to stand up, but you said that the trial field is a competition where the weak are prey to the strong. Not only did you not stop them, but you also urged them to fight. I didn't. Liu Ruoxuan cries and shakes her head desperately. I really just want to enter a big sect with my senior brother and sister. Yi Huan spat. How fucking shameless. Taking advantage of others' difficulties to rob others' things, and you still want to say it in a dignified manner. And it's clearly your own fault, but you're crying and crying, making it seem like we bullied you. Those who originally sympathized with Liu Ruoxuan, when they hear Wei Zi and Yi Huan's words, also show a look of contempt. It should be known that most of the people who are still in the trial field are strong. Most of the people who would rob someone's jade card would fight directly. They would never do something like taking advantage of others' difficulties. Not to mention, after the battle between Mu Yang and Chinizhou, that kind of super expert had ended. Muyan's victory would only make people admire her, but they would never do such a shameless thing like looting a burning house. Since Liu Ruoxuan and her group could do such a shameless thing, if they want to cry now and pretend to be pitiful, they would look down on other people's IQ too much. Liu Ruoxuan has always been pitied, pampered, and tolerated by others. She has never received so many looks of disgust and disgust. Her small face is deathly pale, and her body is on the verge of collapse. Muyan clicks her tongue. This weak appearance makes her feel embarrassed to make a move. She sneers, since you want to advance and retreat together with your senior brother and sister, now that they have been eliminated, why don't you just go out and accompany them? Saying that, she hooks her finger, and the jade card in Liu Ruoxuan's bosom suddenly flies out, towards the arms of the messenger. No, don't. My jade plate. Liu Ruoxuan screamed and rushed over. Before that person could grab her jade token, Liu Ruoxuan suddenly grabbed the jade token in her hand again. Her pitiful face turned sinister for a moment, but it quickly dissipated, leaving behind only more miserable sobs. I'm begging you, please don't snatch my jade token, okay? Hoo, I know I was wrong. Jun Muyan, I apologize to you. Please let me go, okay? I worked hard to get these points. I want to leave Minute Lu realm and join a large sect. Please, don't shatter my only dream, okay? Woo. Saying that, she directly kneels down and kowtows to Mu Yang again and again. Her small face was covered with tears. This time, it really caught everyone off guard. Even Mu Yang inwardly cursed, fucking dog. She really did not expect Liu Ruoxuan to be so flexible, or rather, shameless to this extent. Yi Huan spat, but it was not appropriate for him to do anything to a little girl who was crying so miserably. Chapter 942. Liu Ruoxuan raised her tearful eyes. Seeing everyone's expression, she heaved a sigh of relief and clenched the jade token in her hand. But right at this moment, Wei Zi suddenly walked over and grabbed her jade tablet. Ah! Liu Ruoxuan screamed and was about to pounce on her. Wei Zi quickly took a step back and looked at her coldly. I can't watch you bully Miss again and again. If no one is willing to be the villain, then I'd rather do it myself. Liu Ruoxuan looked at her with an accusatory gaze, her tears flowing more fiercely. How can you be so cruel? I've already knelt down and begged you, why won't you let me go? When my senior brother and senior sister beat you, I also wanted to stop them, and I've never hurt you. I beg you, don't be so cruel, return the jade token to me, this is my only hope. Because Liu Ruoxuan was crying too miserably and kneeling on the ground weakly, there were already some people looking at Wei Zi strangely. After all, even the female devil had the intention to let Liu Ruoxuan go. Who would have thought that this little girl was so cruel? And everyone knew that the people in the windless square could see the performance of the contestants inside. If they left an impression of being cruel and merciless to the elders and fellow disciples, although it wouldn't affect them entering the sect, after entering the sect, wouldn't they be disliked by others? Wei Zi took a deep breath and said slowly, "You said that you've never hurt me and Miss. Then let me ask you, that time in Heaven Fragrance Restaurant, was it you who said that Miss has water spirit root, causing Miss and I to be pushed out as human cauldrons? If Miss wasn't strong enough, we might have been ruined. Like this, you still dare to say that you've never hurt Miss?" Liu Ruoxuan's face paled. I've already apologized. You think that an apology is enough for hurting others?" Wei Zi shouted sternly, "Then I'll take away your jade token and points, then apologize to you, why can't I?" Liu Ruoxuan stammered, No, I'm not. I was protecting senior sister, Pei. If that time was to protect your senior sister, then what about in Green City?" Wei Zi's face was as cold as ice. She loudly said, "Do you dare to say that you were the ones who informed the Ning family and had them take me away as a hostage to threaten the Miss? Do you know that Miss and I almost died in the Ning family? If Miss hadn't killed the Ning family's patriarch, do you think your apology would be of any use?" Whoosh. Wei Zi's words were like a huge rock stirring up 1,000 waves. Did Boss really kill Ning Zongxiang from the Ning family? I remember that Ning Zongxiang is a half-step golden core. Even young Master Qin wouldn't be able to kill them easily. So Boss defeated young Master Qin with his own strength. Whether it was on the square or in the training field, everyone was stunned by this matter. Especially the people from Minute Lu Jie, all of them were dumbstruck and indescribably excited. At that time, when the rumor said that a woman had destroyed the Ning family, they thought it was just a rumor. Now, the truth was that it was not only a woman, but a young girl who was only 20 years old. An unknown young girl had actually destroyed the #1 family of Minute Lu Jie. Chapter 943. If others are shocked, then Liu Ruoxuan is even more aghast. Her eyes widen as she looks at Muyan, unable to come back to her senses for a long time. You really killed the Ning family's master." "No, impossible. My family's Miss didn't die in the Ning family, and wasn't defiled in the Ning family." "Are you very unreconciled?" Wei Zi grits her teeth. "Woman, you pretend to be delicate and pitiful, but your heart is more vicious than anyone else's. If I don't teach you a lesson today, you really think that you can do whatever you want just by crying and pretending." Saying that, she directly gives the jade card in her hand to the cultivator who reported. "Don't!" Liu Ruoxuan screams. "Jun Muyan, didn't you promise to let me go? You're so kind, willing to save Wei Zi at that time. Now, can you also pity me? Those things that hurt you, they were all done by my senior sister. It really has nothing to do with me. I beg you, let her return the jade card to me." Muyan crosses her arms over her chest and sneers. "Sorry, when did I say I would let you go? But, I've already begged you like that." Muyan takes a step closer, looking down at Liu Ruoxuan who is kneeling on the ground. She slowly says, "Have you forgotten what my nickname in this trial field is? The female devil who kills without blinking an eye." This word flashes through the minds of everyone present. Liu Ruoxuan meets her gaze and shivers all over. Muyan glances at the cultivator who is holding the jade card. "What, you don't want these points?" No, I want. Saying that, she wants to erase Liu Ruoxuan's divine sense. I beg you, don't take away my points, don't take away my hope." Liu Ruoxuan kowtows to the male cultivator with all her might. Her forehead is bruised from all the kowtows, truly unspeakably pitiful. Seeing her miserable appearance, the male cultivator shows a hesitant expression. At this moment, the sound of a bell rang. This means that the second round of the assessment is over. Liu Ruoxuan reveals a look of ecstasy. She's been waiting for this moment. Fortunately, she's finally been waiting. Her points and ranking are finally preserved. However, The moment she raised her head, she suddenly saw a strange expression on the face of the male cultivator who was holding her jade tablet. He looked at her mockingly. "Do you really think that everyone will fall for your pitiful act? I don't want the points that I deserve, and I don't want to enter the big sects, but I give the opportunity to a pretentious woman like you. Do you really think I'm a fool?" The lingering sound of the bell still lingered. Liu Ruoxuan felt her figure fading away bit by bit, and the ranking on the scoreboard also changed rapidly at the last moment. Liu Ruoxuan, who was originally in the top 10, fell to the 30th place. Among the top 10, the name of the male cultivator was added. "No. My points." Liu Ruoxuan's shrill scream was mixed with the laughter of everyone in the training field and the flattery of Boss is Mighty before it disappeared without a trace. The second round of the sect selection had officially come to an end. First place, Minute Lu Jie, Jun Muyan. From this moment onwards, this name would sweep across the entire cultivation world, leaving a mark that could never be erased. This year's sect assessment is officially over. Along with the announcement, the training field in the center of the windless square slowly disappeared. Chapter 944. Everyone's faces were filled with indescribable fatigue. But despite their fatigue, some people were beaming with joy, while others were upset and regretful. The square was filled with enthusiastic applause. Then, everyone's eyes turned to one person. Jun Muyan. It was as if she had descended from the sky, but everyone's jaws had dropped to the ground. She was like a natural light source, making it impossible for people not to look at her. This sect assessment has officially ended. Now, I will announce the points needed to enter each sect. Qian Feng waved his hand, and immediately a Li Fire sect disciple came forward, holding a piece of paper and reading it. Li Fire sect Inner sect, 350 points, Outer sect, 260 points. 5 Spirits sect Inner sect, 290 points, Outer sect, 180 points. Xiao Yarrow sect Inner sect, 700 points, Outer sect, 700 points. Finally, the Xiao Yarrow sect's admission points were announced, causing an uproar, followed by a burst of laughter. 700 points, what kind of joke is this? In the entire assessment, only Jun Muyan obtained more than 700 points. Don't tell me they want to recruit Jun Muyan? Heh, who doesn't know that the Xiao Yarrow sect is a place that can't be any more broken down? Even if the score is less than 100 points, no one will go there. He actually wrote 700 points. He clearly knows that no one will go there, so he intentionally wrote an impossible score to gain face for himself. Qian Feng and company also glanced at Shiqing, revealing a look of contempt. This old man either had a hole in his head, or he knew that no one would apply, so he just gave it up. But that's right, who didn't know how crappy the Xiao Yarrow sect was? Who would want to go to such a poor place that they couldn't even afford food? Qian Feng lightly coughed, indicating for everyone to quiet down. Everyone, you have one night to consider which sect you want to choose. Tomorrow morning, those who have reached the required points can directly follow the sect elders back to the sect. Regardless of whether you successfully enter the sect, I hope that everyone will continue to work hard and raise their cultivation level. Qian Feng's announcement ended, and at least half of the people who participated in the second assessment showed an extremely disappointed and regretful expression. Because of the newly announced admission points for the various sects. Even the outer sanctum of the mysterious Void sect, which had the lowest score, required 85 points. Out of the 87 participants, only the top 40 would barely be able to reach this score. The people with the most unsightly expressions were those from the Bright Moon sect. They were originally ranked within the top 40, so it was still possible for them to enter the outer sect of a small sect. But because Mu Yang took away half of his points, he was directly eliminated. Even Liu Ruoxuan, who had the best results, could only enter the worst sect, the Mystical Sky sect, after losing half of her points. Everyone from the Bright Moon sect looked at Muyan one by one, their eyes filled with resentment and hatred. But when Muyan's line of sight falls on them, They are so frightened that they want to flee in a sorry state. Muyan sneers, too lazy to pay attention to this group of cowards. Jun Muyan. Chinajo suddenly steps forward, his voice still carrying arrogance as he asks, which sect will you enter? In that instant, everyone's attention, including the elders, was focused on him. Mu Yang slowly answered, Li Fire Sect in a sect. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.